All right, everybody. For our team project, we're going to talk about air carrier operations, specifically to American Airlines. First of all, I've got a little bit of history of AA, objective research findings, analysis, and proposed solutions for the issues that the air carrier faces in the industry today. A little bit of history here. American first started out as a Robertson Aircraft Corporation. That's back in 1926 when they started flying the mail, and a little bit later, eventually, the group Avco was formed by Fairchild Aircraft Corporation, which included Robertson, and they grew from there. Along the years, American Airlines would lead in a lot of aspects, including a lot of industry firsts, like using the first jet aircraft after the jet aircraft age, speed records, time records, things like that. And would make a lot of acquisitions and mergers along the way, most notably TWA and US Air in 2001 and 2013, respectively. And that would become AA today as we know it, which operates over 900 mainline aircraft to several hundred destinations in 60 countries. And it's a very wide network that we know the brand today. Our objective today illustrate a comprehensive and unbiased analysis of the multifaceted challenges currently impacting the operational efficiency, financial stability, and future growth prospects of American Airlines and the industry as a whole while we're at it. The main goal of course, of an airline is to maintain profitability, right? So a lot of these issues are going to pertain to costs associated to operating that airline. One is labor, two is fuel, aircraft rents and ownership, professional services such as lawyers for the legal side of things, and advertising, and then transport costs, along with a few different others that we'll talk about. Labor costs, this represents the highest cost to an airline. Pilots are expensive. Expertise is expensive. So obviously that is what costs airlines the most money. In addition to that, ramp personnel, gate personnel, that kind of thing. And that kind of constrains a airline's ability to grow in that aspect. Next, we got fuel costs. I've got some statistics here from the Bureau of Transport Statistics, kind of illustrating how fuel went up since pre-pandemic, since before the COVID pandemic in 2019. As you can see, the cost of fuel was $1.95 per gallon, went up to 2.8. I'm referencing the very far right and the second to far right columns, which is the total cost of fuel, and then the fuel cost per gallon. 7.1 billion was the spend in 2019, which went up to 9.68 billion in 2023. So obviously, we can see that fuel is costing the airline more as we get back to those 2019 levels of travel. It's almost a full dollar as compared to the 2019 cost per gallon in that aspect. Then we got aircraft rents and ownership. This is kind of referencing the leasing of aircraft, which is what most airlines tend to do. And while I can't get straight statistics for this issue, um, it is pretty evident that American probably pays in the neighborhood. I put on there $900 million per year, so it's about 105 ish. Um, I'm sorry, it's probably about $1.15 million per year annually on leasing aircraft, such as like a new 737 Max 9 that would go for about 100, 1.15 million dollars per year. So if you multiply that by the amount of leased aircraft in the American fleet, probably about 600, 700, something like that. You end up getting about $900 million per aircraft, just on leased aircraft per year, which is a lot of money. Then we got professional services. Here's a great example of the advertising that American does. That's going to be around several tens to a little bit over $100 million per year, just on advertising. So that's a big chunk of the profit, or a big chunk of the budget there. Then we got supply chain disruption. A lot of airlines are suffering from this nowadays. Airbus and Boeing are unable to build aircraft, which means that they are unable to deliver aircraft on the delivery promises that they made in prior years, resulting in basically a stagnating fleet and a decrease in fuel efficiency. And we all know that the more fuel that you burn, the more that's going to cost your airline. So that's kind of what that's leading to. This is my partner's work. Let me get through that. Then we got cyberspace threats. Just recently, Americans suffered last Christmas a issue with their vendors, which can be counted as a cybersecurity issue. And it's a great danger, and it really leads to a lot of delays and canceled flights and lost revenue for the airline when that type of stuff happens. So, the necessity for new and updated, modernized technology is, of course, always in the need for an airline. And of course, we got ATC staffing and delays. The longer an aircraft sits on the ground and burns fuel, not flying, getting passengers to their destination is an issue. And a lot of this can be chalked up to ATC congestion and understaffing and inability to obtain flight plans, that kind of thing. And through our research, we found out that the FAA has really done nothing to address this problem up until 2023. I know that they're hiring now. But they're not making a great effort to accommodate. All right, so I've got more statistics from the Bureau of Transportation Statistics website here. The first being American being shown as the second most valuable airline in the industry, which is a good thing. And then we've got revenue and costs as of January 2025. This is a reach from the past 12 months up to 2025. We've got operating revenue, cost, operating profit and loss, net income, passenger yield, revenue per available seat mile, and cost per available seat mile. And we can see there that while we are marginally profitable, about $1 to $2 billion year over year, we can see down at the bottom that the on-time performance has really decreased. We went from 80 and 81, 84, 83% on time in 2020 to a 7% decrease in 2024. So all of the aforementioned issues are really starting to affect the airline negatively in 2024 with a 27% loss in on-time departures and arrivals. And we can see that the operating cost jumped about $2 billion and further decreased our profit margins by about 3% there. So that's a big issue for American Airlines. But let's talk about how we can maybe decrease those costs to the airline, starting with labor. So first thing we do is train employees in multiple roles and leverage automation and technology such as self-service kiosks and automated baggage systems, voluntary separation programs, which is the early retirements of pilots. I mean, that's what I think of. And the renegotiation of favorable labor agreements. This is your contracts with your pilot union and your ground personnel union, stuff like that. So everybody in the airline world is going to be unionized pretty much. And it all depends on what kind of agreement you can come to with those unions to maximize profitability. Then we got fuel costs. A couple things we can do here: optimize the flight routes using advanced flight planning software, reduction of mean aircraft weight through efficient fuel and baggage loading, investment in newer, more fuel conscious models, and diligent upkeep of existing ones. We can exercise fuel saving practices such as single engine taxi and strategic fuel procurement involving partnerships with suppliers, securing favorable contracts. Then we got renting aircraft. This is another big issue. The key here is to just secure lower lease payments for principal and interest on aircraft used in the fleet, and of course, continuous evaluation of leasing costs against other financing alternatives. So either direct purchase or direct lending, in that case. Then we got cybersecurity. The biggest thing here that I would say is we have to focus on the human factors of cybersecurity, making sure that the employees know what to look out for, what to do and what not to do. I've seen, working at a wholly owned regional of American, I've seen multiple times where gate agents will leave computers open with company sensitive information available on those computers. So we don't want to do that. And of course, the modernization of systems. So our system at American and the wholly owned operators is quite outdated. I mean, I think it's a system from probably the late 90s. It's called FOSS, and that could definitely use a modernization update so that fewer breakdowns happen. Because when fewer breakdowns happen on the information technology side of things, then fewer delays happen, fewer cancellations happen, and therefore we can be more profitable. And speaking of, I wanted to bring up on-time operations for American, as we are dragging the industry in on-time departures and arrivals as of 2024. It really comes down to the optimization of flight scheduling. So time between turns, time between aircraft arrivals and departures for crew change and fueling and things of the sort there. Healthy numbers of reserve aircraft and personnel. So when you have an issue with an aircraft, we want to have aircraft and crews available in reserves to switch instead of delaying the flight several hours and possibly not making an on-time departure and arrival in that case. Proactive maintenance schedules, so that kind of pertains to the phase inspections of the aircraft, 2-day checks, stuff like that. Being proactive on that and not waiting to cause a delay. You could take an aircraft out of service, a day before or something like that. Close communication with air traffic agencies. This is another big one. A lot of times we'll push back from the gate. We'll get down to the runway and ATC will have a reroute for us, which may involve going back to the gate and getting more fuel, potentially causing a delay. And in that case, that could have all been avoided had we communicated beforehand with ATC. So that kind of falls down to communication before leaving the gate would be a big one there. And of course, the right start flight concept. Any flight starting or ending before 9 a.m. It is very important that that flight departs and arrives on time, because that way the rest of the schedule can stay the same. So it's very important that we do everything that we can in order to get those flights in and out on time, outside of maintenance and things of the sort. But yeah, thanks for tuning in.